motherfuckers are lucky this year, man. I got a bunch of fucking shit on this trip, so welcome to another episode of Perfect Tattoo History. We're in Oakley, California today at my good buddy Shelby Cobra's shop, King Cobra Tattoo. And we're just going to shoot the shit for a little bit and get to know him. So, Shelby, you're from where originally?
Here.
So you grew up in Oakley, huh?
Grew up in Oakley, right?
Okay, and where did you start tattooing? Like what got you into getting a bug up your ass to want a tattoo? Just getting them, or you know?
Well, I was always the kid not paying attention in school, effing off. I always knew I wanted to do something with art, and I actually went to Chico for fine arts, and it wasn't my bag. The people that I would have had to hang out with every day, it wasn't my group. But I was getting heavily tattooed at the time, and then started becoming friends with the tattoo artists, and just asking questions.
What guys were there that would have been of note?
Zach Black was up there. David Singletary was the guy who taught me to tattoo, so he owned Sacred Art, was where I learned.
I was there a fucking long time, man.
It was, yeah. Shit. I'd be lying if I remember the exact years.
It would have to be at least 30 years, you know.
It was a while.
Because he's about my time, you know.
Yeah.
You know, maybe even a few years older, you know.
Yeah.
So, but you started getting tattooed by those cats, right?
Started getting tattooed, and then found out they were carbon living. You know what I mean? Some of them had kids and houses and stuff, and I just became friends with them. And then after a while, I started expressing a little bit of interest in it, and it just kind of worked out. I mean, it took me a while to bug them.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first look when people would come into our shop asking, or even like people that frequented the shop, like, we would try to dissuade them 100% from fucking off. You know what I mean? Like not getting involved in it. It's a fucking pain in the ass learning this thing. You know,
yeah.
It's not the easiest thing to do, and it takes a lot of time and energy to show someone how to do this.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So. You obviously know this, and you can see why they broke your balls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean.
But who kind of like opened the door for you?
Opened the door as far as like
as far as like, yeah, maybe this guy has something, and like let's bring him into the fold. You know what I mean? Like, who was the guy that was like kind of nice to you, and said maybe this kid might work out or something? You know?
Yeah, it was David. David himself. Like,
really?
We just became friends, and I had an art background, so he was stoked that we were doing that. And then his shop at the time was kind of like transitioning. He had a couple artists that were leaving, and it kind of worked out where I didn't have the job that I wanted where I was, and I moved up and slid right in.
Wow. So
my apprenticeship was a little bit shorter than it should have been, just because he physically needed bodies too.
Yeah. I mean, I hear that a lot, man. There's guys like Dringenberg and these guys, they started like trial by fire.
Yeah.
Like, there's a machine, here's your shit, get the fucking work.
Yeah.
And that, it was a completely different time then,
Oh yeah.
Like you could definitely get away with that shit. But
I was really blessed too, just from the amount of people that David knew and the amount of people that would come through that shop to guest spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to shake hands with a lot of heavy hitters.
Who do you think some of the guys that had a major impact on you in those days?
Well, I met Freddie right out the gate. He would come and visit. Freddie Corbin. Frank Ball was there a couple different times. Permanent Mark, we hit it off pretty good. There was a guy, Schmo, that was working there.
Yeah, Schmo dog.
Yeah, he passed away.
Yeah, sure.
Carl Fisher, he was a guy that really helped me out, was always cool and always just easy to talk to. Some of these guys, they don't want to, you got to pry info out of them.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing their thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at that point, a lot of them were, you know what your thing was, it was tattooing and fucking partying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
That was it, So,
but I learned a lot of good things and a lot of bad things doing all that. And I, unfortunately, myself, leaned towards a lot of the drinking and the partying way more than I should have. It probably could have progressed a lot faster as a tattooer if I didn't.
Yeah. But you can't help yourself, you know what I mean? You're making fucking buku bucks at that point. Tattooing was really fucking good.
Yeah.
So, you got a bunch of money in your pocket and a hankering for fucking, that party life, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard not to fall into that shit,
Yeah.
So, I mean, When did it get like super serious for you though?
I had always, it was pretty serious right out the gate. I knew it was what I wanted to do as soon as I started doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that I was not going to do anything else. So like, this is where I'm at now.
Right, you didn't have a safety net.
Didn't want one though.
That's
You know,
good. No, that's good. That's how you become successful.
Yeah. And then to this day, I mean, now it's been 22 years, I guess. It's like I've never once, I play music, I dabble and do all the other shit, but I'm always like, no, I'm a tattoo artist. That's what I'm going to do until I can't do it, you know?
Yeah. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen too
Yeah,
soon.
I'll take my time.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it for some guys a lot quicker than others, but you know. So you're at Dave, how long were you at Dave's joint?
It's probably about 6 or 7 years.
And where did you go from there?
Then I went to, let's see here. When I left there, I think I was in Oakland for a little bit. I left there with a pretty healthy drug and alcohol problem. So I kind of worked at a place in motorcycle shop in Godspeed where I had like a little shop of my own. And eventually put myself into rehab and cleaned myself up. And I think once I got out of there, that's when I seriously started, you know, trying to concentrate on keeping my nose to the grindstone as far as tattooing and making myself better. And it, you know, I had some fallbacks here and there like everybody, I guess, but that was one thing. I moved down south and just started kind of trying to change everything a little bit. And slowly but surely got myself on the right path.
Where'd you end up at that point?
HB Tattoo is where I went down south. Yeah, and they gave me a shot down there. And I was there for a while.
And who were you working with there?
Tony Mucci was a cat from Boston who was managing the place. Hack One, he was there at Valdez. Archie was there. Kicker was down there at the time.
Damien Kicker, yeah.
Kicker, yeah. There was quite a bit of John Cormack was there. So there was a lot of people going in and out. And that was another place I was blessed to meet a lot of people because Rick Walters was up the street. He would go through a lot, tell stories. Now that was a huge thing, networking and just getting to shake people's hands and meet people and stuff like that.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, just like we went for that one benefit, man. I mean, like all kinds of people showed up and they lived around the fucking corner, basically. You know.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I mean, how many fucking tattooers lived around there.
Oh yeah.
God damn. But you know, that seemed to be a decent shot that people were rolling through. You know, it seemed pretty fucking busy too. You know.
That area was like. That area, as far as, if you want to be humbled pretty quick, you know, get down that area. Because you got Long Beach with everybody down there.
Yeah.
Newport and all this, just heavy hitters all around that area, you know. So you start getting a big head, they'll pop your bullet pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, that's all it takes. I mean, you know, they say, you know, like all these tough guys, you know, they don't think they're the toughest. There's always someone who can whoop your ass.
Sure.
You know, there's that one guy, you know, that's gonna come along and beat the fucking shit out of you. And you think you're the baddest guy on the block, you know. And it's the same like tattooing, you know. There's always one guy thinks he's the fucking shit, and it's like, come on, man, let's call a spade, dude. You know, we're not curing cancer here. You know what I mean? You're just doing fucking drawings on dummies. You know, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know. So, you were there for about how long? You think?
5, 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the turning point for you getting out of there?
Well, it was kind of more of a money situation at that point. They had an apprentice that was there right around the same time that was going to be transferred into a tattoo artist. And they were a 50-50 shop as far as I was concerned. I'd been there for a long time, and then he was going to be making the same amount as me, but never done a tattoo.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where the guy's like, well, we're not in a place to give you a raise, and it kind of just forced my hand. I'm like, well, I got to go then.
And we discussed this earlier. I mean, this is definitely the fact that the guy that owned it at that point wasn't a tattooer.
Yeah, he had tattooed in the 90s and stuff, but he hadn't been tattooing for a good 10 years, I think, then.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
For a motherfucker that ain't in the weeds with you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, I learned, you know, every place you go, you learn something, and sometimes you learn what you don't want to do, you know?
That's a healthy lesson to learn, is the shit not to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As well as what you should do.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to be said for like fucking shitty tattooers and guys that are fucked up or what. Man, you learn what to stay the fuck away from.
Sure.
You know? And it's a good lesson. So where are you heading after HB then?
So that's when I came back here. I moved back home. We had a guy in town that had been here for years, Jungle Jim, and he was an old timer. And I had always told myself if I was in the tattoo game for 10 years and still thriving, or if I felt I was thriving, that I would try to open a shop in my town as long as I wasn't stepping on anybody's toes.
Sure.
And I came back here and
imagine that, doing it the right way, huh?
trying. Yeah.
Imagine that, having a little bit of fucking respect for somebody else. Wow.
But yeah, Oakley was a town all growing up, and it just became a city. So I think half the reason that the Jungle Jim guy, he just wasn't ready to have to start dealing with health department and the city telling him what to do, and he was older. So he kind of just packed up and left, and I moved into town. And
Wow.
you know, they definitely didn't want me here when I first started. They were trying to give me the runaround. You have to pay so much money to get in. And I think once they figured out that I wasn't going to leave, I'll jump through your hoops, then it became a lot easier.
But it seems to be the story of a lot of guys, but this isn't like a little bit earlier, like in the late 70s, early 80s, you know, it was like there wasn't really any kind of legislation or laws that had to do with tattooing because nobody fucking did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't a big deal. And then when they found out, you know, a guy wanted to get in, you know, they would fucking come up with some bullshit, and then the guy would fucking pay the money and do whatever they fucking had to, and then the next thing you know, he had a fucking shop there.
Yeah.
You know?
One of the main things, I had to cut my hair and go in front of City Hall and all this shit. And one of the main deals was, I think they just didn't want to have pirates and bikers hanging out at a place.
Yeah, I mean, that's people's first thought. When I was trying to get we were opening up a second location after we opened our original Cadillac location. And we got to this spot, and we found out that we had to get a variance for zoning.
Yeah.
Because the place wasn't the proper zoning, whatever the fuck. So we had to go in front of they call it a registered community organization, like a civic group.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we got in front of this motherfuckers, man. They were just like, well, I was downtown, and we were in front of a tattoo shop, and there was drug addicts
Yeah.
and bikers, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, it was just, you know, it was like a witch hunt almost. You know, it was just, to me, it was fucking hilarious, but they fucking put the kibosh on that shit. You know?
Oh, they did?
Fucking right, they did.
Oh, man.
But thank God that the same day we got denied the license, I went right down the street and I found a building that had the exact zoning we needed and fucking opened
Oh, there it
fucking
is.
a month later.
Yeah, tattoo guys are smiling on you.
Fuck them. You know, fuck it. I was gonna open up there one way or another. I grew up in that neighborhood. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know,
So this town, it's it's an older town that, like we were talking about earlier, there's a lot of old Mexican families and stuff. And there's always been a little bit of like a gang presence, XIVs, Norteños, and that kind of stuff. So the city was really worried about me not doing gang tattoos. I think what they meant was like, HA type stuff, no XIV stuff. And I said, that's not a good look anyways. I said, but the thing is, people might consider the cops a gang, or if somebody starts a gang called the Dolphins, I just can't stop doing dolphin tattoos on people.
Right. Sure.
So one of the first days we opened, this cop comes in and he says, hey, yeah, is the owner here? I said, yeah, I'm the owner. He says, I'm supposed to go over what tattoos you can and can't do. He goes, I don't give a shit what you do. I need this covered up, though.
Yeah.
My first customer.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, that was cool.
So so you pretty much had that community support here. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
grew up here and shit. You know.
Yep.
And so how long ago was this?
12 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tony Allen Joe, I talked to him on the phone years ago. We're shooting the shit about some bullshit or whatever, and he just said, he goes, look, man, there's guys that aren't necessarily good tattooers and whatever the fuck, but any guy that can make money in this business and stay open and feed their family has my respect. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a tough thing to fucking do.
Yeah.
And to stay open for 12 fucking years, man, in any fucking business is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get through that first 6 months, man. That's a bitch trying to make your money back. So, what keeps you going in tattoo? What are the things that kind of fucking inspire you to keep doing this? You know what I mean? The day in and day out, and drudgery of a regular job, you know, which this does become, you know, kind of, you get complacent and shit, but like, you know, there's certain things that keep you going. I mean, what are those for you?
I love tattooing. I just love it. I love everything about it.
What are the main things? Like, I mean, the customers, the this, the that. I mean, what in particular? If you had to put your finger on it.
Yeah. Well, there's something to say about doing a piece of artwork that lasts an entire person's life, right? And you can draw something on a piece of paper and hang it on the wall, but it doesn't have that same oomph that you had to fight to get this piece of artwork for one. You know, it hurt. So
yeah.
And then with the invention of all these tattoo shows on TV, everybody has a huge reason they need to get their tattoos now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like you can just get it because you think it's the funniest shit you ever seen.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
Now they come in with some fucking bullshit ass story,
Yeah.
what it means to them. Why can't you just say, I like this stupid fucking design? You know,
And you know, it's cool if you have the story too, but not every fucking thing has to happen. Get it because you think it's awesome.
Right. I mean, I used to pick the most ridiculous shit I could find. You know,
I have a whole leg full of those.
Exactly. You know, I like that shit. It has a story to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I like tattoos that are fucking worn in too. You know, like that have been well traveled.
Yeah.
That's I got an email the other day, like this guy tattooed him 25 years ago. That's that Rollin design, Price and Lacrosse, the real simple one. This thing looks fucking fine. It looks like, you know, like I did it like, you know, a couple of years ago or whatever. You know, it's worn out a little bit and shit. He's like, oh, I want to get this redone. I'm just like, you don't need it redone. I said, why don't you just go throw some fucking a new coat of paint on the fucking Mona Lisa or whatever? You know what I mean? It's like I just don't understand the thinking sometimes. You know.
I'm into motorcycles and cars and always been into the Rat Fink style artwork, I guess you call lowbrow type stuff, you know. And there's a huge place for that in tattooing. You know, it doesn't have to be a still life of a beautiful flower in order for you to make a couple bucks. I can draw a fucking skull with a knife through its head. And it's cool.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
It's cool.
Shoving a dagger through something will never go out of style. You know what I mean? And Sonny always said that. If you want to make something look cool, just put a dagger through it.
Yeah.
You know, it's the simplest thing you can do. Yeah, I mean, this was always for, like, you know, outcasts and losers and low lives and shit, you know? And,
I'll tell you another thing. I didn't mean to interrupt you, sorry.
No. That's your interview. I'm the one who talks too much, trust me.
Well, I was always really impressed with the fact that tattooers in general, you could see them in magazines, on TV, radio, whatever, but they were accessible. Like, you can go to a convention and just go talk to dude.
Yeah.
Get tattooed by him, sit down with him for 3 hours, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's not like some of them do, but most of the time people will give you the time there. They're just another dude like you, just trying to get by.
Absolutely. You know, there's a couple of these guys that think they're the shit. You know what I mean? The guys that do the little paint by number fucking tattoos. You know.
Yeah, I think in anything you get, you're gonna get. Favored egos. And
like that shit was figured out in the '70s. You know what I mean? How to copy a fucking painting. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, how was a tattoo any different?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to really be a fucking artist, don't start from the top and like do this on the way down. Do your fucking outline, put your shading in, and then put your color on top of that. But they can't do that. They can't do a fucking tattoo like that.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, God bless them. I mean, you want to make a living doing that. I mean, it seems kind of boring to me, you know, to just sit and follow this little fucking guideline the whole time and you have this fucking tattoo that ends up turning into mush like a couple weeks after it's fucking done.
Yeah,
I don't see the that being satisfying.
We talked about it earlier, like at least with the newer thing, and this is probably an argument that goes on, you know, you probably had this argument when you
Everybody's
started.
always been to shit, yeah.
And everybody thinks that they're the last good generation of tattooers or some shit.
I don't. But I'll tell you, I don't, because I got my son, we have another apprentice, like, the guys that I give advice to or critique or I show how to tattoo it, I want those guys to be fucking 10 times better than I ever was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't feel threatened by their talent or their drive or anything like that. That's the fucking one thing. You get guys that teach you, and they get fucking pissed when they start becoming better than them, and the focus starts being on those guys. I feel a sense of fucking pride when that happens.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I helped make that happen, and God bless you. Then now they have a fucking career and a life to fucking that they're really gonna fucking exceed at now.
Yeah.
You know. So that's a good thing about it. There's some guys, you know, I used to say I came in the tail end or whatever, but yeah, I did because, you know, like the old guys were still alive. You know, there was a bunch of those guys still alive, and I got to talk with them and shoot the shit, buy stuff from them. And, you know, of course, when you bought stuff off them, you endeared yourself to them.
Sure.
You know, if you walk by, you were a dollar bill walking by. You know what I mean? They love to talk to you. So, and you know, you know, like everybody's like, oh yes, sir. And oh yes, kind sir, you're such a gentleman. And it's like, no, they're not. They're the fucking biggest scumbags that ever lived, just like we are. You know, come on, man. So.
No, you know, the other thing is that there's reasons why you stand on the shoulders of giants, and there's reasons why we do everything that we do. And I think that newer guys coming up with more art backgrounds where you can buy everything you need off eBay and start, you know, you can get by with teaching yourself.
Sure, you can.
But you might not know exactly why you're doing what you're doing, and there's reasons, you know.
There's absolute reasons. I mean, it's, you know, it's a craft, okay? Just like plumbing, being an electrician or whatever, there's a way to do it, or your fucking house is gonna burn down, or your house is gonna flood, or some shit's gonna happen. If you don't fucking, you know, if you don't do a tattoo correctly, you're gonna have a fucked up tattoo.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it may look good for so long, but like you want a tattoo that's going to look good for 25 years or 5 years, you know what I mean? But these days it doesn't seem to matter because people want it today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't give a fuck what it looks like tomorrow, you know? Yeah. They'll just go back and fucking get it redone, or they'll just laser it off and get another one. Or...
Well, I mean, that's a different argument altogether, right?
Sure.
And Instagram, all that Insta.
Yeah, it's an instant.
They take it, they do their tattoo for the picture. After that, couldn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the difference is, like, we used to get the after pictures, or a couple weeks after, you know, you would let it heal, and they would come in and you spray it off real nice, clean it up, and that was the healed picture, and that told people what your tattoo was going to look like after it was fucking healed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real tattoo, not that shiny picture that you take.
Yeah.
You know, that's fucking half bloody or whatever the fuck you did to it to stop it bleeding or whatever. That's not the fucking tattoo. The tattoo is the healed fucking product, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think people seem to realize it or even give a fuck about it, so.
That's wild to me too, because when I started, and I still think I'm relatively young in the game, but
you keep thinking that.
we didn't have cell phones that took pictures though. I mean, we were still out there with our cameras snapping photos and running to the 1 hour photo. You know, I got boxes and boxes and boxes of old pictures. None of them are fucking good tattoos, but I still have the pictures up when I started. Yeah. You know?
I got books full of that crap, you know what I mean? I mean, like, I actually sat around and fucking cataloged this stuff for, you know, for a few years, and you know, fuck, man, you know, phones and shit like that. Like, but I know, man, things were really changing when those flip phones fucking came. And you try to take the flip phone and put it on the copier or whatever, or draw was on the flip phone, and it was just like, fuck these things. You know what I mean? Go get a copy or fucking fuck off.
Yeah.
And you could do that because there wasn't a shop on every corner. You know, you can fucking throw people out.
Yeah.
And tell them to go fuck themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't pull that shit anymore, you know?
Yeah.
There's fucking 10 guys that'll do it. You know what I mean? If you don't.
Yeah.
So you better be the guy that does it, or you're gonna fucking starve.
Now, let me ask you this too, because we got kids in town that they're younger and they own tattoo shops and stuff, but I get a lot of people that'll come straight from their shop and they go, man, those guys are just, they got a big chip on their shoulder, they're pricks right away, and it's like, you know, you don't have to be a dick.
No.
Just because you think you have to be a dick.
No. I'm talking about a long time ago. You know, this is, even when I was younger, you know, when we were young, we had a different outlook on life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, fuck everything, fuck you, fuck the world, fuck. And now, you know, like, after having, you know, a family of your own and the trials and tribulations of getting beat the fuck up for fucking decades, you kind of chill out a little bit and you see things in a different light. There's a lot more wisdom you've gained, you know? And the biggest thing is when someone comes in your shop is just to say, how's it going? How can I help you?
Yep.
You know, like, you're fucking glad that they walked in the goddamn door.
Yeah.
And they don't do that. They'll sit there, they'll be drawing something, and they'll look up and just be like, what? You know what I mean? Like, what do you need? It's like, what the fuck is, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, people walk right out when it's like that,
Sure.
you know, especially in the Yelp age, you know, like they fucking cruise, you know, they don't want that shit.
That was a cool thing about Captain, you know, how a lot of his shit was based around circus tricks.
Yeah.
You know, if the Captain ever made a album, because his music album, it was always volume 2.
Oh,
Never had a volume 1, but it would keep the person looking for volume 1, so they'd always go asking around for his name. And it was always things like, you know, if you get a person in the shop, put all your shit and lead them to the back and get them to go to if they're asking for flash, yeah, that's in the back. Because it takes them that much longer to get back to the door. You can't make money off them unless they're in the shop, you know?
Sure.
Never answer phone calls and answer all the questions over the phone. You gotta come down here, you know?
Absolutely.
And like that kind of shit's cool.
They should come to the shop, you know what I mean? It's like you can't get tattooed over the fucking phone. So, and Shelby's talking about the one and only world famous sword swallowing Captain Don Leslie, a true showman, a true gentleman, a true man of the world, a carny supreme. I could go on with an introduction for him. You know what I mean? As he would for himself, I'm sure. You know, sign painter. You know, I mean, you can keep going. But Captain Don was one of a kind. And that's what, you know, that you don't have too much anymore is the characters. You know, the guy, people with personality. You know, like, man, these guys are, fuck, man. I'd rather talk to a fucking gnat that flies around my fucking face than half these fucking guys. They have nothing to say.
Yeah.
You know, what, you gonna tell me how you went to art school and had fucking vegan muffins every fucking morning? I don't care. God bless you, you're a vegan or whatever, but like, come on, man. Like, I don't know. I want to hear some destitute stories, you know, something with some fucking meat to it or something. I want to hear how you fucked your life up and got better, you know, some kind of triumph.
You know how your avocado toast was this morning.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, but, you know, look, you had your, you know, like you were saying, you had your fuck-ups, you know what I mean? And you get over that shit, or you fucking die, or, you know, or you're left out of the fucking loop.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, you knew Captain Don, you know, you were kind of roomies with him and shit, and, I mean, what did you know of Captain Don? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, how did he affect your life?
He was huge as far, like, I looked up to him, I just knew there was something special about dude. For one, I'd never met a real, you know, circus dude, and he was legit. I think he ran away from home and joined the circus, like the stories that you hear and shit. You know?
Yeah, they were like the old movies and shit, you know, the guy runs away and, you know, next thing you know, he's a fucking acrobat in the circus and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he was best friends with Lyle, and he knew, he always lived behind a tattoo shop, so he was behind Goldfields, and, you know, that was always like, there's gotta be something with this dude. And then you go look him up, and he was in the Guinness Book of World Records for sword swallowing and shit, you know. And then you just get to talking to him, and he was a wealth of knowledge. He just knew everybody, he knew everything. And like I said, he knew the tricks, the old tricks that you just, they don't write those things down. You just have to learn them from somebody that either made them up or knew them. You got taught from somebody else.
No, absolutely. He's definitely one in a million, you know. That's definitely a dying breed, you know. There's guys that are really good storytellers, and like he was one of the best for sure, you know. I mean, whatever he was saying, I mean, he could keep you interested.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The older guys, man, they got some really good stories. You know, the one thing that was kind of a bummer, he was supposed to go to Tokyo that one year, man, and for one reason or another, you know, he didn't show up. Yeah, he didn't show up. But you know, I think that would have been interesting. I think, you know, very.
It definitely would have blown minds over there.
Forget about it, dude. Swallowing swords, and you know, you don't see that in Japan.
Yeah.
No swallowing swords.
We took him to the first Tijuana tattoo convention that the Sawyer brothers put that.
Oh, really?
And yeah, it was awesome bringing the alien to the thing.
What, did you do any performances, or were you just there fucking tripping
No,
out?
he performed.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck yeah.
he performed. It was cool.
That's awesome.
Didn't know what to think of.
So, I mean, so you're in it over 20 years now. Where do you think tattoo's headed?
I don't know if I'm qualified to even answer that, but you're always.
If you had to guess.
Yeah.
By the my brain is fucking mush after so many years. You know what I mean? It's a little shit I can't even remember anymore. But by the patterns that you see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where might you see tattooing? I don't know. Say fucking another 20, 30 years.
Well, I do see. I mean, the mainstream part of it is just absolutely obvious now. You know, there's not many jobs that you can't get because you have a tattoo now. You know, I mean, shit. I think Oakland allowed you to have tattoos on your neck and your hands to be a police officer. But you see a lot of soccer moms that are getting tattoos to match their fucking car or their purse, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And part of that comes with the fact that they know they might be able to take it off later, or you know, it's not as scary as it used to be to do that kind of stuff. They see it on TV with all the shows, you know, that it's just a little more accessible to do that. Not to mention there's just that many more fucking tattoo shops around. But I think there's always going to be, I think you're starting to see like the more guys who are, they chugging away doing tattoos every single day that might not be, they're more tattoo artists or tattooers than tattoo artists. And then you have the guys who are using the new machines who are like painting, you know, just these amazing things on somebody's back that looks like photorealism type shit. You know what I mean? There's something to say about those things too, but I just think that the quality is going two different directions. Because those tattoos are almost apples and oranges where you can't really compare them.
For sure, for sure. I think some of the traditional stuff is getting much clunkier, and then the photorealism shit is just getting fucking way crazy. You know what I mean? Tattooing ain't fucking going nowhere.
Nope.
As soon as we started walking on 2 fucking feet, it was there.
I think it was Hanky said, prostitution may be the oldest profession in the world, but I bet you every one of those whores had a tattoo.
Absolutely. You know, somebody had a tattoo on them.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Where do you see you in 20 years?
Shit, hopefully doing this. Hopefully my back and hands, you know, still are around. What's your favorite thing? Is it the people though? About tattoo? Is it the people? Is it the fucking the actual tattoos itself? You know, like we were talking about tattoo magic. One of the things is like I can sit home and shit. Like I said, it gets fucking complacent. Same thing. I get very complacent. Same thing day in, day out, day in, day out. I mean, I have a luxury. Thank God I work with my fucking son. I got a good fucking solid crew of guys. When that's going on and the aggravation is low, you know, and you can get really complacent with that as well. But I think some of the magic is definitely the people, because it's good to catch up. Like everyone that I know in tattooing, man, I won't see someone for 10, 15 years, and I'll say, you start right where you left off. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't miss a beat with these people, especially, you know, they're tight people. You talk to them, you know, through the internet or whatever, or, you know, comment on Instagram. So you kind of still have that connection. But then when you see them in person, it's just like big hugs, and, you know, you're just, you know, it's that fucking brotherhood, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sisterhood, whatever the fuck, you know. And yeah, that's the real special thing about it, you know. There's definitely some tight knit crews, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, you know what I mean? It's like, and there's like you're one of those guys that bridges a lot of gaps. You know what I mean? Like you don't stay in your own fucking corner. Like you can get along with anybody.
That's right.
You know what I mean? If you're not a fucking dickhead, you're fucking getting along with them. I try to be that way too. You know what I mean? Well, I prejudge everyone. You know, that's just the way it is. Tough shit. But like there's guys in fucking New York people may have never heard of. I mean, they're my fucking dear friends. And other people, you know, like the fancy pants in New York, I can get along with them too. You know, so I know these fucking guys too, and there's a bunch of fucking cool cats. But for some reason, a lot of those guys can't get together. And they're all in the same fucking town, but they're just like, fuck that guy, fuck this guy, fuck... Man, you know...
Yeah, I've always been in my happiest state.
I'll put my hand out to anybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you embrace it, yeah.
Like, you miss me on all that shit.
No politics, no fucking religion in the fucking tattoo shop. Leave it the fuck alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not worth it, man. You know?
Yeah.
they're all fucking corrupt. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who the fuck it is.
That's exactly right.
Come on. But, and I appreciate you having, we've been here all day, we've been having a fucking really great time here. And this is the kind of magic that happens in tattooing. You travel around and see the people that you really care about and the people that you like. And I'm glad you were sitting down with me.
Thank you very
People
much.
got to fucking hear your story today. So thanks a lot, Shelby.
Right on, Eric.
And we'll see you the next time. Alrighty.
So Friday turns to Monday and I'm back to my